What's up, YouTube? It's your boy JP's on the keys, and it's too easy about another video today. Man, I'll have a timestamp if you want to just skip to the reaction. But also, if you haven't watched, I just dropped the video on not just the George Floyd situation, but on like the new like upcoming things in America about like the beginnings of martial law being enacted, about Anonymous exposing everything. And now what I see on YouTube, it's a lot of people who are trying to be like, they're trying to use this as a way to improve their audience, especially content creators on YouTube. It's, oh, I'm the first. Nobody's giving you this information. Like, I'm giving you this information, or no, like, I'm the best on YouTube. I know what I'm talking about. I do this. I'm the best on YouTube. I'm number one. Like, and then people are making this about who can expose the government first, and who's the best when it comes to this, and who's this and that, and then like, bro. Like, this is a national, not just a national, this is a worldwide crisis. Like, I feel like somebody has some evil mastermind plan, and now they're on phase. Phase one was the pandemic. Now phase two is civil unrest. What's phase three gonna be? I don't know. What are you gonna be? Aliens? What is it gonna be? If the government has found evidence of aliens. Aliens are landing on Earth now. Like, what else is gonna happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then they're like, oh, join my Patreon, join my website. I can't put this stuff on YouTube. You probably can, but you want more money for it. Of course, come on, bro. Like, come on. Like, we see through the games. But you know what? Let's get to Napoleon 1813, the road to Leipzig. Leipzig. Woo-hoo. Napoleon has ruined, having gained so much. What a career Napoleon has ruined. Napoleon has ruined. Having gained so much glory, he could bestow peace upon Europe. He has not done so. You got nerve to be talking. You got a lot of nerve to be talking. He basically he pushed halfway into your country, and now that his army fell apart, and now that he made a couple mistakes, now you're gonna say, oh, he failed the spell. But he smacked y'all. He had y'all spanked. I can't, bro. You talking a lot. You talking a lot, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. You got to understand. Napoleon didn't almost have y'all smacked. I mean, he made a couple mistakes, which Russia capitalized on. But come on, bro. You can't say that. You can't say that the spell is broken. It wasn't the spell. That was literal army, like, military domination. That wasn't a spell. He was literally destroying countries.
1812 had been a disastrous year for Napoleon. His invasion of Russia had led to the almost total destruction of an army of 500,000 men.
I mean, obviously, the invasion didn't work out like he planned, but he gained a lot of ground, though.
Now, Poland and Germany were wide open to Russian attack. Some advised Emperor Alexander that this was the time to make a favorable peace with Napoleon. Russia's own armies had been mauled and Western Russia devastated. But Alexander was determined to see Napoleon defeated for good, to free Europe from his clutches, and avenge Moscow's destruction by taking Paris. Napoleon's allies were deserting him. Prussian troops had already agreed a truce with the Russians. Schwarzenberg's corps marched back to Austria, which assumed a policy of watchful neutrality. Napoleon had left Marshal Murat in charge of the remnants of the army, but he left for the Kingdom of Naples, hoping to cut a deal with the Allies that would let him keep his throne.
Oh gosh, wow.
He was replaced by Napoleon's stepson Eugene, who'd proved himself a brave and able soldier in Russia, but was unused to independent command, and now faced odds of 4-1. As Russian forces advanced through Poland, he continued to retreat west, leaving garrisons to hold strategic fortresses, most of which were soon besieged. On the 7th of February, Russian troops entered Warsaw unopposed. Napoleon's Polish client state, the Duchy of Warsaw, effectively ceased to exist.
Wow, okay.
3 weeks later, Russian troops entered Berlin, while Sweden joined the Allies. Sweden was ruled by Napoleon's former Marshal Bernadotte, now officially known as Crown Prince Karl Johan. Many would accuse him of betraying Napoleon, but he'd always been clear that once he became Sweden's Crown Prince, he'd pursue Swedish interests, which is what he now claimed to do.
Yo, that's crazy! Yo! So, yeah, that was the one he got this... Yeah, like, no, Napoleon, like, kicked him out of the army. So this dude went and is now the leader of Sweden, and now now he's going... Wow. Look how the cards have fell on the deck. The people that he kicked out are now against him in war. Now this man is the leader of a whole country. Wow. Oh my God. He came back a year later, 4 years later, ready for revenge.
In exchange for Norway, to be taken from France's ally Denmark, and £1 million from Britain, Bernadotte agreed to join what was now the 6th coalition against France since the Revolution, with an army of 30,000 troops. 10 days later, King Frederick William of Prussia declared war on France. It followed weeks of indecision. The king was widely seen as a weak character and terrified of Napoleon. But with guarantees of Russian military support, the return of lost territory, and enormous financial and material aid from Britain, he agreed to field an army of 80,000 men.
I would do it too!
On the 17th of March, he issued a proclamation to the people of Prussia and Germany, "An mein Volk," to my people, summoning them to fight for Prussia and Germany's honor, in what would soon be known as the German War of Liberation. The Prussian army had been greatly reformed since its humiliating defeat to Napoleon in 1806. A military commission headed by General von Scharnhorst had sacked nearly 200 old generals and abolished flogging, expanded recruitment and introduced exams for officers, and overhauled training, tactics and drill. When Napoleon met the new Prussian army in battle 2 months later, he remarked, "These animals have learned something." Small consolation, they'd learned most of it from him.
Oh, wow.
This video is sponsored by Curiosities. As his enemies massed in Germany, Napoleon was in Paris, working tirelessly to build a new army with which to face them. 137,000 new conscripts joined the army, and laws passed to call up 100,000 more, while 40,000 veterans from the army in Spain, 16,000 Marines, and 80,000 men of the National Guard, a home defense force, were transferred to Germany. The new conscripts were nicknamed Marie-Louises, after Napoleon's young wife, who'd passed the new conscription laws in his absence. They were young and raw. 2/3 were teenagers, and there was a severe lack of experienced officers and NCOs. In short, the countless irreplaceable veterans now lying beneath Russian soil. There was also a critical shortage of cavalry, a crisis mocked by British satirists. It would take Napoleon longer.
Oh, wow, they really have the boots underneath the wow. That's crazy. That's for,
To replace the many thousands of horses and trained horsemen who'd perished in Russia. When Napoleon left Paris for Germany in mid-April, the French situation was precarious. Eugene had been forced back behind the river Elbe to the fortified city of Magdeburg. Dresden, the capital of Saxony, had fallen to the Prussians. The Duchy of Mecklenburg-Schwerin became the first German state to defect from Napoleon's Confederation of the Rhine. Russian Cossacks raided as far as Hamburg, inspiring local revolts against French occupying forces. Meanwhile, Austria stood on the sidelines, so far declining to back either side.
And Austria's in the middle of both of them, so that's crazy. So you're in the middle of Napoleon, and you're in the middle of all the allies. So y'all said, nope, we're not joining nobody. Nope.
Napoleon's miraculous feat of organization meant he now had more than 200,000 troops in Germany. And the Emperor's personal magnetism was undimmed. The morale of his army was high. The Russians, on the other hand, lost their iconic commander, Field Marshal Kutuzov, to pneumonia on the 28th of April. His role was taken over by General Wittgenstein. Russian troops were exhausted and far from home, their army weakened by the need to contain French garrisons across Poland and Germany. Prussia and Sweden had yet to fully mobilize their strength, and Allied forces barely mustered 100,000 men. They were now heavily outnumbered by Napoleon, and the French Emperor decided to strike quickly. He ordered Marshal Davout to Hamburg with 35,000 men to secure his northern flank. He would march against the Russian and Prussian forces converging on Leipzig to force a decisive battle. Victory would make Austria think twice about joining the Allies, allow him to rescue the 90,000 men trapped in garrisons across Germany and Poland, and re-establish his dominance over Europe.
This is a must win for Napoleon. This is a must win. Like, your whole reputation was soiled when you hightailed it back to France. People, oh, he's a coward. He's leaving his army behind. He's a coward. He's leaving his army behind. And now you come back with 200,000 men, with the Allied force, which is probably has less than half the men that you do. And if you do not win this battle, you are done. You are as good as done. Because obviously, Eugene, Eugene, your stepson, is not capable of being a formidable general. So, all he's going to do is retreat. So, hey, this is a must win. And if you can get Austria on your side, all that land, all that territory, all those resources, that's a big win.
As Napoleon advanced on Leipzig, the Allies faced a predicament. To risk battle against Napoleon's larger army, or give up Germany without a fight, a potentially devastating blow to Allied morale and any chance of winning Austria over to their cause. Allied headquarters made the bold decision to attack. They knew most of Napoleon's army was made up of raw conscripts, that their own troops were better trained and had a great superiority in cavalry and artillery. The Allies agreed that as Napoleon crossed the Saale River, they would hit his right flank before he could concentrate the full mass of his forces. The two armies were on a collision course, but Napoleon's shortage of cavalry meant he lacked information about Allied movements. On the 1st of May, Marshal Bessieres, commanding the cavalry in Murat's absence, was carrying out reconnaissance himself when he was hit by a cannonball and killed instantly. Bessieres was the second of Napoleon's marshals to be killed in action, and like Lannes, an old comrade and trusted friend. The Allies were able to surprise Napoleon, falling on Marshal Ney's Third Corps near Lutzen. Ney's troops had to cling on in the face of a Russian and Prussian onslaught, while Napoleon rapidly redirected his other corps to fall on the enemy's flanks. At one stage, Napoleon had to personally help rally routing troops as they broke in the face of determined Prussian assaults. But on the whole, his young conscripts fought with courage. And despite hours of savage fighting, Wittgenstein could not exploit his early advantage.
Okay.
As French reinforcements arrived, the battle turned against him. Towards dusk, the Allies were forced to break off the engagement, though they'd inflicted around 22,000 casualties, losing just half as many men. General von Scharnhorst, mortally wounded, was among them. Crucially, Napoleon's lack of cavalry meant he was unable to pursue the enemy, who retreated in good order. Expecting the Prussians to fall back on Berlin, Napoleon sent Marshal Ney in pursuit, while he continued east. But the Allied army stayed together, withdrawing to a defensive position at Bautzen, deliberately close to the Austrian border, hoping to entice Schwarzenberg to intervene, and daring Napoleon to violate Austrian neutrality.
Oh, they playing mind games now. Okay.
Neither happened. Instead, Napoleon ordered Ney to swing south to fall on the Allies' northern flank, while he launched a frontal assault to pin them in place. The battle lasted 2 days, as French infantry struggled forward against the Prussian and Russian lines. But a misunderstanding over Ney's orders caused a delay that allowed the Allies to narrowly escape Napoleon's trap. Once more, the Allies fought with great determination and inflicted many more losses than they suffered. There were more casualties during the pursuit, including the next day General Duroc, Grand Marshal of the Palace, responsible for Napoleon's personal arrangements, and his closest surviving friend. Riding with Napoleon's staff, a freak cannon shot ricocheted off a tree and disemboweled him.
Whoa.
His slow, painful death deeply upset Napoleon.
Whoa.
The Emperor continued his pursuit to Breslau, once again hindered by his lack of experienced cavalry, while Oudinot was sent north to take Berlin, but was held at Luckau by von Bülow's Prussian corps. On the 2nd of June, with both sides strained to breaking point, neutral Austria proposed a ceasefire, which, to the surprise of many, Napoleon accepted.
But his star is setting. Oh, that ain't good. I mean, it's not good. I don't like those words.
The armistice of Plaswitz would last more than 2 months, a period of intense diplomacy and military mobilization by both sides. Napoleon wanted time to rebuild his cavalry, a shortage of which had allowed the Allies to escape twice. But he also wanted to keep Austria on side, which he feared might join the Allies with 200,000 troops, even though Emperor Francis I was now his father-in-law, since Napoleon's marriage to his daughter Marie-Louise in 1810.
Can we say chess move? Chess move?
Austrian Foreign Minister Clemens von Metternich, who'd become one of 19th century Europe's most influential statesmen, now took center stage. Metternich wanted peace and to see Austria restored as a great European power, which meant Napoleon contained, but not crushed, which would hand too much power to Russia. In June, he traveled to Dresden to ask Napoleon to make concessions, while promising the Allies that if he did not, Austria would join them. But Napoleon dismissed Metternich's terms out of hand. He would not return the Illyrian provinces to Austria, agree to the repartition of Poland, or the breakup of the Confederation of the Rhine. All were out of the question.
I mean, I wasn't either. You made it this far. Why give up now?
Napoleon famously threw his hat to the ground in fury. Peace and war lie in your Majesty's hands, Metternich is said to have warned him. Today you can still make peace. Tomorrow it may be too late. But Napoleon preferred war to what he called a humiliating peace.
True. I see what he means.
On the 12th of August 1813, Austria joined the Sixth Coalition and declared war on France. The Allies now had a numerical advantage of 3-2, and a new strategy, the Trachenberg Plan. Recognizing Napoleon's genius, the Allies would avoid battle with the Emperor and instead target his marshals, threaten his flanks, and wear down French forces, until it was time to close in for the kill. Over the next few months, the coalition would also receive massive material support from Britain, including £8 million in silver and gold coin, 200 cannon with transport, 120,000 firearms, 18 million rounds of ammunition, 23,000 barrels of gunpowder, 30,000 swords and sabres, 150,000 uniforms, 175,000 pairs of boots, 1.5 million pounds of beef, biscuit and flour, and 28,000 gallons of rum and brandy.
So basically, Britain is playing the same role that the United States was playing in the beginning of World War I and World War II. We're not going to join the direct conflict. We're just going to donate monetarily and with materials to the war. Wow, Britain has had a big hand in the war and it's barely even fought, except for some naval battles.
The total value of British aid to the coalition in 1813 was £11.3 million. Today, worth around $500 million. Napoleon, meanwhile, had turned Dresden into a major supply depot and strengthened his cavalry arm, though it remained a pale shadow of its glorious past. Murat returned to lead it, his secret approach to the Allies having been rebuffed. But when news arrived of King Joseph's disastrous defeat to Wellington's Anglo-Spanish-Portuguese army at the Battle of Vittoria, Napoleon had the situation. On the 15th of August, Napoleon left Dresden and advanced against what he considered the most urgent threat, the joint Prussian-Russian army of Silesia, commanded by General Gebhard von Blücher, soon to win the nickname Marshal Vorwärts, Marshal Forwards, for his aggressive leadership. But Blücher followed the new plan and retreated when he learned of Napoleon's advance. Napoleon then received news from Marshal Saint-Cyr, holding Dresden with 20,000 men, that Schwarzenberg's gigantic army of Bohemia was approaching, and the city and its supplies were in danger.
Oh, that's smart. That's so smart. You drag him away from the supplies. You lure him away and then attack while he's not. Bro, like you wait. You just lure him out of his, you lure him out of his trap. Like you lure him out of his home. Then you come in and take it while he's not there. Wow. You have to commend these leaders, bro, because they really thinking though. I like the way they think.
Napoleon left Marshal MacDonald to keep an eye on Blücher and raced back to Dresden, sending Van Damme's First Corps to threaten Schwarzenberg's communications. By the time the Allied assault began, enough reinforcements had arrived to fight off the attack. The next day, despite being heavily outnumbered, Napoleon ordered a counterattack. Struggling through mud and heavy rain, Marshal Murat's advance, supported by Victor's Second Corps, broke the Allied left flank and took 13,000 prisoners. The Allies had suffered a disastrous defeat because they'd ignored their own rule: don't take on Napoleon in battle. But news soon arrived that turned the situation on its head. Marshal Oudinot had resumed his advance on Berlin with 66,000 men. But in 3 days of heavy combat around Grossbeeren, he was defeated by Bernadotte's Army of the North. Some of the most savage fighting was between Napoleon's Saxon allies and von Bülow's Prussians, two German states that for now remained on opposing sides. 3 days later, at the Katzbach River, Blücher inflicted a crushing defeat on Marshal MacDonald, driving some French troops into the river itself. MacDonald lost 30,000 men, 3 eagles and 100 guns, for Blücher's 22,000 casualties. 3 days after Napoleon's victory at Dresden, as Van Damme's corps pursued the Allies, it became trapped in wooded valleys around Kulm and was overrun. General Van Damme himself was dragged from his horse by Cossacks, as he and 10,000 of his men were made prisoner. Napoleon sent Ney to take over from Oudinot, who engaged Bülow's Prussian corps at Dennewitz. The Prussians, fighting to save Berlin, held their own until Russian and Swedish reinforcements arrived to turn the battle decisively in the Allies' favor.
It's a lot of, I like this constant, it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We win a battle, you win a battle, we win a battle. I like this back and forth.
Ney's retreat became a rout, with the loss of another 22,000 men. Napoleon's brilliant victory at Dresden had been completely overturned in just 10 days. The Allied plan was working. Napoleon became increasingly frustrated as Allied armies withdrew wherever he advanced, and advanced wherever he was not.
It's a cat and mouse game. It's a cat and mouse game. That's the bad thing about being surrounded on all sides too, because you don't know where people are coming from.
His teenage conscripts were exhausted by constant marching and famished as Saxony had been stripped bare of supplies. Thousands fell sick, thousands more deserted. Russian and Prussian light troops were now operating behind Napoleon's army, harassing his communications with France. Many of Napoleon's marshals advised him to pull back to the River Rhine. But Napoleon wasn't giving up Germany without a fight. By October 1813, Napoleon faced 250,000 Allied troops in Germany, converging on him from 3 directions. 900 miles away, Field Marshal Wellington was crossing the Bidassoa River into France.
Oh.
The first enemy army on French soil in nearly 20 years.
And we hadn't heard of anything involving Spain in so long. Oh my, just as soon as you got to deal with Austria, Russia, Sweden, Poland, all these other, Great Britain, all these other forces, then you got Spain, that's to the south of you. Like, all these countries around you are flanking you from all sides.
While the Kingdom of Bavaria, a French ally since the days of Austerlitz, had secretly agreed to switch sides and would declare war on France on the 14th of October.
Oh, what? Yeah, this is crazy. He's getting the enemies everywhere. Like, look at this. Like, this dude is surrounded all sides. Literally, your south flank, you got Spain, who's been kicking your generals' butts over here. You got Britain with the best navy in the world. So you don't want to smoke with Britain, because then the navy will come and destroy you. You got Prussia, Russia, Silesia, Austria, Bavaria, Sweden, I think Norway. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 countries, possibly 9 countries against 2. France, Germany, Italy, Naples, like basically 2 whole big countries against like 9.
Napoleon planned to defend the line of the River Elbe. But the arrival of General Bennigsen's reserve Russian army freed up Blücher, who suddenly marched to join forces with Bernadotte and forced his way across the Elbe at Wartenberg. Napoleon went north with 150,000 men, seeking the decisive battle that would change his fortunes. But once more, Blücher narrowly escaped him. Then came news from Murat, who'd been left with 67,000 men to cover Schwarzenberg. The enemy had bypassed Dresden and was heading for Leipzig. If the city fell, Napoleon would be cut off from France. Once more, he was advised to fall back to the Rhine. But instead, Napoleon ordered all his forces to concentrate at Leipzig. He would risk everything in one great battle to decide the fate of his empire and the fate of Europe.
Oh God, not a cliffhanger, man! Why? This might have been the most. This was the most engaging episode that we've watched in the entire series. Even more engaging than the last one, and they cliffhanger me. I'm sick of y'all. Oh my goodness! So now he has every troop, all of his army is in one city. So if he loses this city, if Napoleon loses Leipzig, he's done. He's basically done, because now they can all just push him back into France. And wow, this is good. This is really good. Anyways, thank you again for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. Don't forget to share the video wherever you share videos at. Also, don't forget to turn on my post notifications. Check out my gaming channel. I just finished Outlast. I post, if I haven't posted on my gaming channel, I will post it sometime today. but I just finished Outlast. I'm excited. It's my first walkthrough I finished on that channel so far. So yeah, we're completing walkthroughs. I started like 5 of them, so we got 1 done. So thank you again. Be safe. Stay on the grind. I'm out. Peace.